podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
No brakes, no brakes, no fear, no fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
Welcome to another episode of British Speedway's official podcast, No Brakes, No Fear. I'm Ian Brannan. We're, of course, at what's called the business end of the season, and there's plenty of business to get through. It's the finals week in both the Rome Motor All Premiership and the Cab Direct Championship. And Belle Vue and Leicester kick things off on Monday night at the National Speedway Stadium. And it's the Aces who lead by 18 points at the halfway stage.
Yeah, we're only halfway. Leicester's, they're going to want to do a bit better at their spot, but I believe in the boys. We'll see what we can do.
More from Dan Bewley, who bagged himself a maximum in the playoff final first leg on Monday night. We'll also hear from Stewart Dickson.
It's been a difficult night for us, but we're not throwing the towel in, I can assure you. We'll give it a go on Thursday and see what happens.
And our main guest in this week's episode is one of the rising stars of World Speedway, and he's British. Will Cairns joins us.
That's basically from Greg. He's given me that mentality. Usually, let's say 3 years ago, I'd be like, oh, that was sick, I just came from the back. But now I'm like, I was at the back. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's all good. But yeah, I do like a race. I must admit, I do like a race.
Much more from Will Cairns to come later on in the podcast, and we'll look ahead to all of the fixtures coming up over the next week. Granted, there's not that many of them as we get to the back end of the season in this playoff finals week in British Speedway.
No brakes, no fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
So, as we get towards the end of the season, the fixtures, of course, are winding down, and we've had a few rain-offs thrown into the mix as well. But the action on Monday was very much at the National Speedway Stadium as the Rome Motor All Premiership is set to come to a conclusion in the next week. Belle Vue holding an 18-point advantage at the halfway stage of the playoff final of the Rome Motor All Premiership after a 54-36 win over Leicester in the first leg in Manchester. Dan Bewley swept to an imperious 15-point maximum for the Aces, who came up with a strong finish to the meeting after their lead had been pegged to 8 points with 3 races remaining. The home side adapted better to conditions as rain moved in during the second half of the meeting. Brady Kurtz with 10+2 bonus and Jamin Lidsey with 10+1, both in double figures, and Niels Christian Everson making a strong guest appearance with 8+1 bonus in for the injured Ben Cook. It means the Aces travel to the East Midlands as favourites for the second leg, although their visits to Beaumont Park this season have resulted in defeats by margins of 16 and 20 points. Let's get some reaction then. First of all, from the top scorer, 15-point max for Dan Bewley.
Dan Bewley, first of all for yourself, a stunning 15-point maximum, an 18-point win for the Aces. It's been quite the night.
Yeah, 100%. And Court get a maximum, but to be honest, just nicer to see that 18 points in front. But we're only halfway. Leicester's, they're going to want to do a bit better at their spot, but I believe in the boys. We'll see what we can do.
Obviously, the rain started coming down early on in that contest as well. Just how tricky was it out there? You found it okay, I guess.
When it was raining, me and Brady got 2 5-1s, but 100%. It was a little bit hard to see, you could say, but it actually rode nice. So it's tough to say, but it's a lot easier to say that when you're in front.
Obviously, they were keeping it pretty tight, only 8 points between the sides as well. But towards the end, 3 massive heat advantages, like you say, yourself and Brady involved in 2 of those. And it does make you strong favourites for this title now.
We're only halfway. But I think we all feel good, but job's not done. So we'll come out swinging on Thursday, hopefully, and get off to a good start. But I think all the boys are ready for it.
Dan, well done to you in the Aces tonight.
Thank you.
An 18-point lead then. It's impressive, but is it enough heading to Beaumont Park? The home of the Leicester Lions. It hasn't been a happy hunting ground for the Belle Vue Aces earlier in the season, and I'm sure Belle Vue fans will be very quick to say, well, on one occasion they were without Brady Kurtz, and another they lost Dan Bewley. But that said, maybe some of the other riders among the Belle Vue Aces team wouldn't say the Pidcock Motorcycles Arena is their favourite venue. Therefore, there is an opportunity still for the Leicester Lions to get themselves back into the tie, and that's not lost on manager Stewart Dickson.
It was 18 points is a lot when you hear it out loud. The boys battled away. I can't point fingers at anybody. They all battled away in tough conditions. Belle Vue riders, home riders, managed to cope better than us. They had their tails up, and 13 and 15 hurt us tonight, unfortunately. But we threw a few points away. We made the gate in a couple of races, and then by the second lap, the home riders in front again. So credit to them. But it's been a difficult night for us. But we're not throwing the towel in. I can assure you. We'll give it a go on Thursday and see what happens.
Because of the conditions, the meeting had to be rushed through as well, and it gave the boys very little time in the pits on the mechanical side of things as well.
Yeah, I understand the reason for Phil Morris thinking it through, but when my riders are coming to me and saying they need a bit more time, especially when you're losing races, you're always looking to fix your bikes. Belle Vue guys were flying, so maybe they were out in heats 11, 13 as well, same as what my riders were. Sam Masters was out in 10 and 12, and he said it's just not enough time, after they've been filled in. But when you're winning races, you don't need as much time because you're at the front and not getting splattered. So we can't feel sorry for ourselves. It is what it is. We've lost the better team tonight. We just need to roll our sleeves up and get ready to go on Thursday.
Like you say, you're not throwing the towel in, but how do you approach Thursday night now? What's the message to the team?
We just come out with all guns blazing, hope we get off to a good start, put them under pressure and see where it gets to us. We'll know around about heat 6 or 7 if we've got a chance on Thursday, because that's the way Speedway works.
Stewart, many thanks for speaking.
Cheers, thank you.
So that second leg still to come at the Pidcock Motorcycles Arena, Beaumont Park, and it will be live on Discovery Plus and Eurosport. It is a big finals week, though, in British Speedway, and that's not limited to the top league, because in the Cab Direct Championship, the Oxford Cheaters are taking on the Poole Pirates, and Oxford booked their place in the Cab Direct Championship Grand Final after a major scare in their semi against Scunthorpe. The Cheaters saw their 2-point lead from the away leg wiped out in the early stages, as the Scorpions led 18-12 on the night at Cowley, and it took until Heat 10 for them to regain the aggregate advantage. Sam Masters and Scott Nichols established a 4-point gap overall with a 5-1 in Heat 13. Guest Dan Julks produced an excellent ride to win Heat 14 from the back, with Luke Colleen third to make sure of progression. The hosts winning 49-41 on the night in the end, and by 10 on aggregate. Top scorer was Scott Nichols, 13+1, Sam Masters, 12+1, Kyle Howarth scoring 9 for the Scorpions. We can hear from a very relieved Oxford Cheaters boss, Peter Schrock, who on his birthday saw his side progress through to the grand final.
Yeah, it was a very tough one, but I said it right at the beginning, the Scorpions are here to bite us, and they certainly did. They kept nipping on us all the time, and we just couldn't get away with it, and it took quite a long time. We finally got a really good race in Heat 14, and then obviously, Heat 13, that's when we normally come good. And with the two top guns what we've got, and they put us in front of the game, and in 14 and 15, the last 3 heats, I started breathing a little bit, and it was a great evening. But Scunthorpe probably deserved it as much as we did, but there can only be one winner, and this time it's us.
Obviously, when you went a few points down, they got a 5-1. Dan Julks got himself excluded. It was that numerical advantage, I suppose, over the riders. That really set them up, and then they followed it up with a 4-2 soon after that. It would have been easy to panic, I guess, for the riders, wouldn't it? But they didn't. They held their nerve.
Yeah, they were full of confidence in the pits as well. I watched them, and they wanted to get back. They wanted to get back at us, and they wanted to redeem themselves from what happened to them at home, because it doesn't happen very often, And I think that hurt them, and it gave him that little bit of extra firepower. But we kept battling away, and we had a couple of injuries ourselves. Obviously, JJ's out at the moment, but Dan done a great job for us. And Ashton, he had a big crash up at Redcar, and I think that sort of hindered him a little bit today with his leg and one thing and another, and he had a couple of issues with the setups. So he never got going properly, but he still scored 3 points, very important 3 points, and he's a major part of this team. So hopefully, he'll recover from this one and come back next week even stronger.
The Poole Pirates lying wait in the grand final. You're going to be riding them, of course, in the Knockout Cup final, but a team that you've had success over both here and at Wimborne Road, which is not something many other teams can say, and certainly not in the last few years.
Yeah, no, but it's like I said, we've got we're carrying a couple of injuries and one thing and another. So when we were down there, we were full of beans like the Scorpions were today. We got stuck in properly, and but we're certainly going to do the same thing again, and hopefully pick the right guests, and and might just surprise one or two people.
And it is your birthday today as well, which we found out sort of halfway through. And this is the perfect present, though, isn't it? Now
it is. Yeah, it would have been a very long drive home, because we worked hard this year. You know it yourself. We all do a lot of mileages. Same like you guys. Up and down the country. So when it comes to the end like this, and you're so close, I kept saying to the boys, like, look, we got one foot in that final. Let's not pull it out. Let's get the other one over the top. And they did. So I'm really proud of them tonight.
Peter Schrock of the Oxford Cheetahs, and the Oxford Cheetahs head to their first grand final, looking for major silverware on their second full season back in Speedway. It's quite phenomenal when you think just a few years ago the whole stadium was an overgrown wasteland. They shared a picture of this on their social media not so long ago, and how things are looking now, and operating in all three leagues, which Oxford also announced recently that they will be competing in all three leagues of Speedway again in 2025, Premiership, Championship and National League. It's a phenomenal turnaround of events, and well done to the Oxford Cheetahs on making the grand final up against the Poole Pirates. First leg is this week on Wednesday at Oxford, and it's live on BSN if you can't make it, and the second leg will be on Friday back at Wimborne Road for the Poole Pirates versus the Oxford Cheetahs, and one of those teams will be the champions of the Cab Direct Championship, and hopefully will resolve the Premiership as well, all in the same week. Well, speaking of silverware, one rider who has already won a title in the last week or so, and is looking actually for even more silverware, even at this stage of the season, is Will Cairns, who recently turned 15. He's just started riding in the National League just a few weeks back for the Belle Vue Colts, and he's just got his first average, and it's over 10 points. It's not a bad way to start your Speedway career. And we are going to speak to Will Cairns as our main guest next on No Brakes, No Fear.
No Brakes, No Fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
Welcome back. I'm Ian Brannan. There's always lots of talk about the upcoming stars of Speedway, and of course we like to spotlight the rising stars, but perhaps none more in the spotlight at the moment than Will Cairns, who's 15 years old and only really took up the 500cc in the last year, and he's been able to join on his 15th birthday at the end of June the Belle Vue Colts in the National Development League. He's going to have to wait though until next summer before he can officially ride in the higher leagues, the Championship and the Premiership. Has to be 16 years old, but those days are approaching, and it's fair to say that Will has no shortage of offers. But I'm very pleased to say that Will is joining us now, and Will, you're the 500cc champion, so congratulations on that. That's a recent bit of silverware, but it's safe to say that it's been going pretty well for you. As I say, you only got your permission really to be able to race in the National League on your birthday back in the summer. You've got your first official average, and it's 10.2, which isn't bad, Will, isn't bad.
Yeah, I've hit the ground running, like I said before we went live. I've definitely hit the ground running in the National League, so that's always good. But I just got to keep a level head, and just got my last National League meeting on Monday, so we'll just see if I can produce the same performance that I've produced every other meeting.
Well, that's sort of the present. Let's go back to how did it start for you? What is the Will Cairns backstory? And Will Cairns is how you like to be known, isn't it? Because I know people call you William, but you're going by Will. How did it all begin for you? Was it a motocross start? How did you end up in Speedway?
Yeah, so many people listening have probably heard my story before, but I'm going to repeat it again. I started motocross when I was 4, and then I had like this oval track in like the training facilities near me, and I just wanted to slide it. I really just wanted to slide it, and like I was sliding the whole track on my little 65 when I was 4. So yeah, Dad was just like, God, we need him to get a go on Speedway. So yeah, went out to Wayne Carter. He managed. We hired a bike from him in Scunthorpe practice track, and never really looked back from there.
The Scunny practice track, and I've talked about this before, is the place where so many careers have started, and you now being another one, I guess. But Ty Woofenden to name one. There's an endless list of riders who have had their first skid around there on a little track, and then from there on you picked it up. I guess for you'd be one of the riders that was sort of had your progression maybe sort of interrupted by the pandemic, I suppose, because you were riding before that, and then you picked it back up, and that was a bit of a roadblock in the way, wasn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't great. It wasn't great, but God, I can't even remember what I was doing in the pandemic. We were trying to ride, but it was very difficult. I was like, I'm fortunate enough that Dad's got a farm not too far away from me, so I would go down there on my motocross bike and trials bike and do some starts in the fields on my speedway bike and everything. Yeah. So actually, I believe that's where I learnt to wheelie my speedway bike. Yeah, if my memory is correct, that is where, or I just trained on my motocross bike how to wheelie, and then I did it on a speedway bike.
So out of the pandemic, those wheelies that we see when you're celebrating, maybe that's a bit of a side product of that. So it wasn't like time wasted.
No, I don't think it was time wasted, but obviously was Leicester the other day where I flipped it, but we won't speak about that.
Don't mention it.
But yeah, it was all fun and games.
Awesome stuff. And people will see these wheelies at some point, I'm sure. You have also teamed up with Greg Hancock, and this is obviously a massive thing. You know that you're obviously in a very privileged position there, but you've been working with Greg Hancock, which, that's phenomenal to have him in your corner, isn't it? Tell us what it's been like working with Greg Hancock and the stuff you've learned. I mean, not least your gating, because you're a very quick gator. So that's just one bit, tip of the iceberg, I suppose. But yeah, having Greg in your corner can't be bad.
Yeah, me and Greg, we've got a very strong bond. Actually, it's up near my monitor on my PC here. I've got a Greg. Last time he stayed at my house, he slipped this under the door when he woke up. When I woke up, I found it. It's a photo of Greg, signed by him. He says, "Train hard, Will. I'm proud of you, kid. Love you, Will. Greg." So yeah, that's always nice. And I just got that standing up. I just got it standing up now in my desk here. So yeah, me and Greg definitely have quite a strong bond. My dad loves Greg. Greg loves us all, and his family are brilliant. Jenny Hancock, Carl Hancock, the mad one, Wilbur Hancock, and yeah, the family are brilliant. But yeah, Greg spends as much time as possible. Obviously, it's difficult because obviously he's training with Luke. He's Luke's mentor, and he's the GP rider Simon Wojcinak's mentor as well. So it is hard, but it's all good. Like you said with my gating, yeah, I get a bollocking then if I do something bad, like throw my head up or something, and so I gotta always just make sure that I'm ready and just do what Greg says, and it's winning. So do what Greg says, I guess.
This is it, though, isn't it? And I think maybe people don't fully always appreciate, obviously, the full art that there is to Speedway, in that people will talk about gating and they're looking at the tapes and it's like the fastest to let your fingers go. It's not, that's part of it. But then, as you say, there's the whole body position, like having your leg in a certain place, your head in a certain place, your shoulders. You've got to be in this exact sort of balance, haven't you, to make the best of it. There's other stuff you can do as well, and yes, letting the clutch go is a key part of it, but there's so much little tiny things can make a huge difference.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like I could explain it to you guys, but I would be here all night, so I won't. But yeah, you're dead right. It's the head position, the legs, the arms, the throttle, like yourself, like how you're feeling is another big one, and like the bike, like the track prep, like how you've prepped your gate and everything. So me and Greg practice a lot. That he says, well, it's my left hand for the clutch is my money maker, and then my right hand is I can't remember now. He'll be annoyed at me that I can't remember, but it's something to do with gating, and we train hard at the gates, and it's paying off.
Well, it certainly is. Let's start with the youth championships first. You pretty much blew everybody away in the youth championship. It's a very difficult act to follow, really, and it wasn't perfect. So you didn't go totally unbeaten, of course, in some races, but you did win every round, and you ultimately you took the prize at a canter, didn't you? And that was actually sealed in Scotland at Edinburgh, where I remember it was said earlier, wait till he gets to Edinburgh, see how he gets on there, and actually won the title there, so it wasn't that bad. I don't think you didn't win that one though, did you? No, but it's still on the podium.
There's a story about that, actually. So you say I didn't win every race. I would have won every race if I didn't crash in my first race there in Edinburgh. My mate Will Cairns, another rider, rides for Redcar. He took the top step on the podium that day. But we're going to drop Edinburgh, and we're going to make history. And I believe if Neil Vatcher's statistics are right, I won every race in the British Championship and made history, I guess.
You did, right? Okay. Well, there you go. Yeah. History maker.
Because it's basically because you're allowed to drop one round, and it wouldn't have any difference on my the scores of the overall. So I'm going to drop Edinburgh just so I won every race, basically.
Ah, right, okay, yeah, because like you say, you can. There's more rounds in the tournament than is actually required. Yeah, okay. So there you go, history maker, unbeaten in the entire championships. Fantastic.
Yeah, I did Worlds, Europeans, British champion pairs. Yeah, I did four championships, and I made history in 3 of them.
It's not bad. It's not bad, is it? I saw you racing at Workington in the youth championships, and you were cruising out front for most of them. But there was this one race, and I think it might have been against Jamie Etherington, and you were sort of not out the back as such, but you were certainly way behind. And you actually had to battle, and I saw a different side to you there, where you had the bit between your teeth, and you were throwing the bike in there, and it was absolutely spectacular, I've got to say. Banging off the fence, it was like watching a little schmarschlick flying around there. And actually, at the end of it, even though you were way after the main meeting, you actually in that race, the heat time was the same as I think heat 13. Or something like that. You were as fast as Richard Lawson anyway in the main meeting on an ungraded track.
Yeah, it was. Fair to Jamie, to be honest. It was one of them races. I think I had gate 4 or something, and it was one of them gates, and it was just I made a horrible start, and then I think I was at 3rd at one point, and got out in 2nd, and then I just chasing down Jamie, and it was one of them races where he was like riding the perfect line, like just on the curb and. Yeah, so it was slick. It was after the meeting and everything. So I did have to try about every line on that track to get past him, but I did it. So that's the main thing.
It was exciting. I mean, for you though, you get the job done by the first bend more often than not. Certainly in that championships, it must be exciting for you though to be to have a problem like that where you've got to figure it out and race and put it on the line a bit. Yeah,
it's not ideal. To be honest, it's not ideal coming from the back. It's all well and good coming from the back, but I kind of look at it. Why was I at the back? Like I need to make that start next time. But that's basically from Greg. He's given me that mentality. Usually, let's say 3 years ago, I'd be like, oh, that was sick. I just came from the back. But now I'm like, I was at the back. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's all good. But yeah, I do like a race. I must admit, I do like a race.
Yeah, and you mentioned obviously Greg. That goes without saying, an inspiration. Who are the riders that you take inspiration of now? Because you're in these sort of, still formative years. I guess you're still honing your style. You must still be taking influence from some of the other guys around at the minute.
I'm one of them people who just study. Like, I just look. I haven't really got a favourite rider, to be fair. I like seeing good racing. I like seeing the Brits achieve, like Robert won his first GP there in Voyens last weekend. So fairs to Robert. Dan, he's absolutely killing it. So yeah, it's all good. But if I had to say, I would say Robert Lambert and God. Artem Laguta.
Okay. Yeah. Good stuff. And so now, with the Belle Vue Colts, this has been mentioned numerous times. Just clear this up for us, because I've said this till I'm blue in the face, and if you say it out of your own mouth, then people will probably take notice. But obviously, your dad owns Leicester. You've made the decision to ride for the Belle Vue Colts, but you want to make your own way, I think, is the bottom line, isn't it? So tell us about that.
Yeah, it's one of them things where it's basically like I'm doing it. I picked Belle Vue for myself. Like, I could have easily gone to Leicester and like, yeah, who knows? I might be scoring worse because it's around Leicester. It's not my favourite track, but I could be doing better. I might be on a 12-point average if I was at Leicester. You never know. But yeah, I did it because I didn't want to be kind of a I don't know how to put it, like one of them boys who are only there because their dad owns the team. There's an F1 driver, I can't remember his name, who's like that. Is it not Alonso? Someone, but yeah.
Yeah, there was that Russian guy, wasn't there, in F1, and his dad owned the team.
Yeah, something like
terrible.
that. Yeah, a bit like Lando, but Lando turned out to be really good. I think Lando's dad paid McLaren, but Lando actually is good. So yeah, something like that. But yeah, I didn't really want to be one of them boys who are not, if I'm not performing, like the crowd or other riders might say, oh, he's only in the team because his dad owns it. If his dad didn't own it, it'd be dropped. Like, I just don't really want that name or kind of title subjected to me, to be fair. I feel like Belle Vue was just waiting for me, and I feel like it's the National Speedway Stadium. Come on, like it's a brilliant track. It's a brilliant stadium. So it was a no-brainer.
And similar to Woofy, that's why he went to Wolves, because obviously his godfather, Neil Machin, would have had him in Sheffield, but for the same sort of reason, really. It was like, people will say there's a family connection there, and off he went to make his own way. So in the National League, obviously a bit of a step up from the Youth Championships. You're riding against riders there, some of which are riding in all three leagues. There's a couple of them. Yeah, so for you though, it's you've come away with your first average, and it's 10.2. So that would suggest things have gone pretty well.
Yeah, 10.2 is a good average, I believe. I don't know. It's my first year.
I don't think you can go higher than 12, can you? So it's like up there.
Well, I was at, I think, Sheffield, my last meeting for Belle Vue, or my second to last meeting for Belle Vue. I was like, so what would my average be? Like a 15, 14? And the whole team just kind of looked at each other, and Freddie was like, well, it only goes up to 12. I was like, oh, I don't know. I'm new to this stuff. So I just ride the bike and help my dad with the bikes. Yeah. But yeah, 10.2 average is good.
So you're one of the top riders in the league. But ironically, though, even though you got 10.2 average, you're still not number one in the Belle Vue Colts lineup there, because I think Sam Hagan's just in front of you, isn't he? So it's a very strong team all round.
Yeah, I don't actually know what Sam's is. I think it could be pushing on for an 11-point average, but I'm not sure.
It's something like that, but it's certainly the top. It's above yours, but yeah, it's knocking on.
Yeah. Sorry, I completely forgot to answer your question in the last question, but yeah, riding with riders like Jake Mulford and Sam, who ride in all three leagues, it's crazy. It is crazy. Like I had a guest booking for Oxford, I believe, at Redcar, and I came up I went round the outside of Jake Mulford and up the inside of Ben Trigger. So, you got two National League and Premiership and a National League and Championship rider, and I passed them both down the back straight. So yeah, it was a good feeling, and I think it proves to everyone that I know I'm ready for the Championship, I'm ready for the Premiership, and I'm ready. Just wait for my birthday.
Well, that brings us on to the next question, I guess, doesn't it? That's 2025. That is the date that I'm sure a number of promoters have been got it etched on their calendar. I suspect that you're probably a few steps ahead of many of the promoters, though. You're going to have some choices, Will, going how you're going. It's a unique position. I know there's a lot of good British talent coming up, but obviously the focus is going to be falling on you for now. Obviously, I don't want you to sort of reveal your plans, but you are going to have a lot of options, I guess.
Yeah, I'm fortunate enough to have, I think, every championship club except one or two is asking me. So yeah, that's good. But yeah, I can't really say anywhere at the minute. But I have signed for somewhere for championship next season, but it'll only be for half a year because my birthday's the 29th of June, annoyingly. So yeah, it's dead in the middle of the season, or just a bit over the season. So yeah, Premiership. Yeah, I'm speaking to people. I am speaking to people. But yeah, something's going to happen. Yeah.
And that'll be obviously you'd be in the right. Are we be looking at going into the Rising Star scheme, or are you looking to sort of bypass that and go straight in? I don't know. Is that the plan, or are you not sure yet?
I don't really care as long as I'm lining up on the line or in the same team as like your Holders, your Bewleys, your Seifutenhoff, or whoever I am with. If as long as I'm in the same team as them, I'm happy. I'm stoked. So I think put me at number 7 or number 1. I'll try my best either way.
And that is going to be a big step, isn't it? Inevitably, it is going to come along. But that is exciting for you now to look forward to this year. That in this next year into 2025, as soon as July comes round, it's going to come at you fast, isn't it?
Yeah. So I'm going to be going from like one league in one country to be going to 4 leagues in 3 countries in a day, a night. Basically, it's literally a night. So yeah, that is crazy. But we're ready. We've got bikes out in Sweden already. So we're just like sorting out vans and like starting to book our flights and yeah.
So therefore, then we haven't got to that bit yet, but you've got. I'm guessing here that you've got a team in Sweden and a team in Poland as well.
Yeah, in Poland I have. In Sweden I have. I just haven't decided where I want to go yet. But yeah, it's a tricky one, Sweden. So, but I'll eventually make my mind up, and I'm sure some of the Swedish, Polish, and possibly even Danish fans might see me about at the home tracks.
Okay, get your atlases out and see if you can figure out where Will might be riding next year. You've already been riding, of course, though, on the continent. You've been in the 250cc pairs. You're in SGP3, and you've. And this is the thing, isn't it, that these riders, you are probably one of the names now who people are hearing about, but there's many other names. Just look down the SGP3 lineup. These are the riders that in 10 years from now are going to be in the Grand Prix. And same as now, the riders that are in the current Grand Prix all came through together and know each other. You must be making some good contacts and good friends with some of these upcoming Danes and Swedes and Poles that are on the scene now.
Yeah, it is. It's amazing on the friends that you make in the sport and like the professionals that know me on first name terms now. So it's really cool. At Cardiff, I was walking through the hospitality bit, and Ty Woofenden rocks up, and he's like, "You're right, Will." I'm like, "It's Ty Woofenden." Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, I remember from like 2018, 2017 when I was watching him in Cardiff, and I was like, "Geez, he's quick." And then now we're like buddies. So yeah, it is cool. And like you said, with the 250 SGP3, like I said earlier, 4 championships, three I made history in. So SGP3, third in the world. That's the best that the best any English person has ever got in the 250 World Championships. And then the pairs, we got second overall. Me, Cooper Ashton, and Seth Norman was our reserve. Unfortunately, he didn't get a ride, but no, he did. He got 2 rides, and we got second. I think we were leading them by like 5 points or something. So we all chipped in. We all helped. We got second in the world in the pairs. So that's another one. And then Europeans. I was winning it. And if I'd won that race, this race that I'm in now, I would have been in a runoff. Depending on how Maximilian did, I would have been in a runoff for first. And it was going on to the last lap or something. I was coming in and I just went bang, just stopped. My chain snapped, and slapped me on the arse, ripped all my mudguard out and everything. And Maximilian then got second. So if I had won that race, I would have been European champion. But that's racing. We all had fun. But other than that, it was good.
That's just the gods of Speedway intervening, isn't it, there? That's just, there's nothing you can do about it. Frustrating.
No, it's literally just racing, like I said, and it's making me upset thinking about it now. Just, it was in my grasp, but like you said, it's the gods of racing, and hopefully I'll get my revenge on the gods. Maybe next year. Never know.
So you're leaving the 250cc life behind now, I think, aren't you? Well, you're not going to have time. You're going to be racing in 3 countries. So obviously times are changing. What is the aim then for the next year? You must now have already identified what that is.
For the next year, it's just really working on my fitness, losing a couple kg, and just getting into the race ready mode, catching up on a lot of my sleep. First of all, I've got a meeting on the 250s in October, so in Slovenia, so that will be good. But doing a bit of motocross with Seth Norman, mountain biking, just everything, just staying active.
And then next year, you'll be out of the SGP3. So are you going to try and see if you can get a crack at getting an SGP2, or will you be saving that for the year after? What's the plan for world domination?
It depends. It depends when it is, because like if it's obviously after my birthday, like it was this year, I think I can do it. But it depends. Like it depends on what Neil Vatcher and Jackie Vatcher decide who to take. But it is what it is. It's it'll be my first full year on a 500 next year. So there's no really expectations. Just go in, have fun. If I get into the SGP2, stoked. I'm going to try my best, but it's not a lot of expectations.
But you have got that experience now of, going through SGP3 and at your age, you're 15 years old and you've got a couple of seasons of racing, in the Grand Prix lifestyle. And it's going to still be very similar when you move up to SGP2. It is a progression there as it is domestically as well in the youth championships going into regular racing.
Yeah, exactly. It is going to be very different from driving in your van with dad for like 16, 17 hours to Slovenia, to flying and then meeting like my Polish mechanic in Poznan airport, and then like flying to Denmark that night and riding and doing stuff here and there, and then I've got to pay him, clean bikes there, and do this, do that, service that engine. It is going to be very, very hectic. But me and my dad are full in it, and Dad's going to give me a hand. He's going to come to try and come to some of my races in Poland and that. We'll just see how it all kind of unfolds.
And still, maybe one bit of silverware for you to have a go at yet. The under-19 championships was, of course, rained off at Oxford. That needs to be restaged before the end of the season. So still that on the calendar, and maybe, as I say, another potential bit of silverware in the youth ranks for you.
Yeah, bit of a bummer that Sunday was called off, but what can you do? But even more of a bummer that Ashton Bowen's going to be in it, so I got even stiffer now. But hope Ashton gets well soon. I didn't actually see the crash, but I know it was quite a nasty one, I think. So it's going to be good, and like I said, no expectations at all. If it is round Oxford again, which I believe it will be. You got Luke Colleen and Ashton Bowen, Jodie Scott, Ashton Vale. They're all Oxford specialists, shall we say? So no pressure on myself. I will put some pressure on myself without a doubt, but I just got to go in there and do my business and get the job done.
Well, it's been fascinating talking to you, Will. Thanks for joining us. Well done on your achievements this year, and everything you've managed to do in your first year. I mean, it's not even your first year, is it? You only turned 15 in the end of June, so it's the first 3 months of your career has got off to a fantastic start, and looking forward to a fuller year next year. And as I say, that second half of the season is. It's going to be interesting for you, isn't it? So very best of luck with it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, an impressive interview there from Will Cairns. And you really have to just remember he's 15 years old and one of the hottest properties in World Speedway right now. And he's British, which makes it even better. You can see Will in action in the final home fixture for the Belle Vue Colts, taking on the Sheffield Scunthorpe side on Monday. And that's September 30th at the National Speedway Stadium. And the Under-19 Championships, of course, still to come as well. So, in the final part of No Brakes, No Fear, we'll round up the upcoming fixtures. There's not too many of them on the cards at the moment, of course, at this stage of the season. But we'll have a quick roundup in just a moment before we finish off on No Brakes, No Fear.
No Brakes, No Fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
So, to round things up then on No Brakes, No Fear, we'll have a look ahead to the fixtures coming up. And to be honest, there's not a massive amount of them, really, at the stage of the season we're at. So I'll keep it fairly brief. Final fixture of the WSRA NDL season takes place. Belle Vue Colts next Monday, taking on Sheffield. A win for the home side by a 6-point margin will see them take the runners-up position, currently occupied by the Oxford Chargers. So there is that ongoing. Here is the full fixture picture then. We've got all the finals going on. Cab Direct Championship, Grand Final, first leg, Oxford versus Poole. Wednesday night, 7:30. You can watch that one on BSN. Thursday, Leicester versus Belle Vue in the Rome Motor Oil Premiership Grand Final, second leg, 7:30 the start time there. That is, of course, weather permitting, as is all Speedway fixtures, but that one particularly. Friday, Cab Direct Championship Grand Final, Poole Pirates versus the Oxford Cheaters. That's the second leg, of course. Silverware will be won that night. And it's the Teesside Silver Helmet at Redcar at 7:30. They've got two meetings in one going on in this one, actually. The Teesside Silver Helmet will be contested among 12 riders, in fact, and they're always adding to this lineup. So they've got Norick Bladorn and Connor Mountain, and they've also brought in Antti Vulas. Will Cairns, actually, is going to be riding in the Julie Lewis Memorial as well. So you can watch out for Will Cairns, our guest in this week's episode, in that one. Also, Jason Edwards, Jake Mulford, and Dan Thompson among the full lineup for this. So this is looking pretty good. And then they've got the Julie Lewis Memorial Trophy. So this is going to be some of the youngsters. Jake Mulford, Will Cairns, and William Hockyanuk is going to be riding in that one. So see Will in action on Friday night at Redcar. Then on Sunday, we've got the BSN Series final first leg at Scunthorpe between the Scunthorpe Scorpions and the Poole Pirates. 5:30 start time for that one. Again, that, of course, is on BSN, with it being the BSN Series final. And then on Monday, we've got that National League match between Belle Vue and Sheffield and the Alan Graham Memorial, a 4-team tournament at Birmingham, 7:30 at Perry Bar. And then on Wednesday, October 2nd, it's the second leg of the BSN Series final between Poole and Scunthorpe, and that is the lineup as far as we know it. There are, of course, one or two other fixtures yet to go in, including the Cabdirect Championship Knockout Cup final, which I think will be coming up in the subsequent weeks, depending on how things go with weather and things going to plan. So that will be probably penciled in for the week after that we've been talking about. But yeah, to be confirmed nearer the time. But of course, that will be between the Poole Pirates and the Oxford Cheetahs again. So that's how things are stacking up in British Speedway. And well, we wish you a fantastic time wherever you're going. The season will be running out fairly soon. Of course, we've still got one Grand Prix to go as well. In fact, two Grand Prix, because we've got the main Grand Prix at Torren on Saturday night. Good luck to the British guys in that one. Not least, of course, Robert Lambert going for the silver medal in World Speedway. And Leon Flint takes part in the final round of SGP2 in Poland as well, also in Torren. That's on Friday night, so good luck to Leon Flint in that one. And we'll be back next week to, well, hopefully talk about the two championship winners in both the Premiership and the Championship. Who will be the title winners? We will hopefully be discussing that. Hopefully discussing it with both of them next week. But we'll find out nearer the time, of course, and we'll review all the action in the coming days. Have a great week in Speedway. We'll be back next week. Take care.
No brakes, no fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.